Assalamu alaikum ahli ACCA and welcome back to my channel. Today we're again talking about F7. Bugün videomuz asosan ingliz tilida va o'zbek tilida mix bo'ladi. Just to help most of you guys. And I believe that people who are studying F7 are comfortable with the level of English because they will be required to write, to think, to understand English language in their examinations. So I think it's better, and not just for exam purposes, but also to reach out the global audience in F7, I think it's better to make this video mostly in English. Okay, today we'll be revising what they call section B. So I'm gonna be answering from my own perspective, how I will answer all those questions. So at the end of Kaplan study book, there is a chapter called chapter 25 in the latest book on objective case questions. So there are about 11 section B questions. So if we multiply by 5, it becomes 55 questions. So if you have finished tuition stage, if you have finished all the chapters, before immersing yourself in massive practice, it's a good idea to try these questions. Yani mavzularni tugatgan bo'lsangiz, practice'ga to'liq sho'ng'ib ketishdan oldin mana bu 55 ta savol ishlab chiqsangiz, sizga juda ideal revision bo'lardi. Hamma mavzularni bitta qaytarib olgan bo'lardingiz. Chunki bu yerda deyarli har bitta mavzu bor. With just a few exceptions. Leasingdan savol ko'rmadim, but I've seen questions on all other subjects so far. Let's get started. We will today consider timing, how to approach questions, how to be careful, and where we should pay extra attention in the questions. Okay, so here we start. Bose decided to revalue its head office and factory for the first time. Okay, we have a head office and factory for the first time, revaluation. So valued the head office at 13.8 million and factory at 3.4 million. So the question is asking about what is the total gain to be recorded in revaluation surplus. So when we are revaluing, if we have a surplus, which means increase in the amount in the value of our assets, then we will take it into revaluation surplus. Let's have a look. So we decided to revalue on 31st of December at the year end. So firstly, we should find the carrying amount at 31st of December 2008. So firstly about head office. All right, head office. So at the start of the year, so 20 years, $20,000. Okay. So it was bought on January 2001. From January 2001 up to January 2008, we have 8 years passed. So we should depreciate this head office for 8 years. 20,000 divided by 20 years multiplied by 8 years. It's going to be $8,000 depreciation. And if we deduct this, we get $12,000 carrying amount. So that means now the head office has 12 more years and $12,000 of carrying amount. And this head office is being revalued at 13.8 thousand. So giving us 1.8 thousand, or because I just subtracted 3 zeros, it's going to be $1.8 million from head office. Now let's go back to factory. For factory, so it was bought on January 1, 2003 for $6,000 and 15 years. So from January 1, 2003 up to December 31st, 2008, we have like 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Whatever, 7. Do we have 6 years? Well, I guess so. So factory 6,000 divided by 15 years. And how many years? I just lost count. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, eight. So about 6 years. And 6 years depreciation. It's going to be 2,400. And if we subtract this, it's going to be 3.6 or $3.6 million carrying amount. And this factory is being revalued at 3.4 million. For head office, it's revaluation up. For factory, it's revaluation down. When we have revaluation upwards, we take it to the surplus, revaluation surplus. But when the fair value of our non-current asset is lower than the carrying amount, what is this called? This is called impairment. And this difference of $0.2 million is taken directly to the statement of profit or loss. So this is not going to be taken to surplus. So we only take 1.8 million. If we choose A, 1.6 million, then you probably took the net of head office and factory, which you should not do. And the others are incorrect by default. The asset under construction began to be built on March 2008. Okay. This was funded out of general borrowings. Okay. December 31. From March till December, we have, I guess, 10 months, right? 10 months. So we have two types of loans. One at 6%, one at 9%. What are we going to do? So this is IAS 23 borrowing cost. Yani borrowing cost-ni ham, даже foizini ham biza capitalize qilamiz, which means we will take it as asset, but at what rate and what's the amount? When we have more than one type of loan and more than one type of discount rate, interest rate, we take the weighted average rate. So that's going to be weighted average equals. So 6% of 2 million plus 9% of 3 million divided by 2 million plus 3 million. So 2016 foizi, it's going to be $120,000 or 0.12 plus 2019 foizi 0.27 and divided by 5 million. So that's going to be, let me take my calculator. 0.12 plus 0.27 divided by 5. 0.078. That means 7.8% is going to be my weighted average interest rate. What am I going to do? I have 2 million in loan. I have 3 million in loan. So I take overall, we have 5 million in loan and we multiply by 7.8% of it to find the interest cost that I should capitalize, okay? But be careful. If we do this, we find the annual interest cost. But the construction started on March and ended in December. I mean, we're talking about December. So it's only about 10 months. So we should take the prorate 10 months out of 12 months. That's going to be the answer. That's going to be 0.325 or 300, this is million, $325,000. That is going to be the answer. So here we go. Have recently bought investment property. Oh, investment property is about IAS 40. And right now, when I read this question, two things come to my mind. We have cost model in which the property is depreciated, and we have the fair value model in which the property is not depreciated. So which of the following are acceptable treatments? Regular revalue with gain or loss being shown in other comprehensive income. That's incorrect because when we revalue, we use fair value method. And the gain or loss is taken to statement of profit or loss, not other comprehensive income. This is also correct. Hold at cost, depreciate the asset useful life, also correct. So look at the question carefully. Which of the following are acceptable treatments? Yani qaysi biri qilsa bo'ladi? It's not a requirement, but it's asking about acceptable. Which of these methods or treatments can we accept? So we can accept this fair value method. We can accept this cost method. So 2 and 3. 4. So is currently undergoing a refurbishment of its head office. Correct treatment for each of the costs below. Overhauling. If you pass tangible non-current assets, overhauling is also part of the requirement and which should be capitalized because this is a rule of safety inspection committee. Repainting, fixing the broken stuff are just expenditure items. So easy question for now. So 5, it's about non-current liability. And what is it about? It's about grant. So whenever I read the question about grant and non-current liability, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I should subtract the amount of grant that I already recognize. I should again subtract the amount of grant that I will recognize in the next year, which will be my current liabilities. And the remaining balance will be my non-current liability. So I got it on July 1 and it's December 31, which means 6 months. So this is my starting point. I always do this and I recommend you to do so. 2 million grant and okay, the grant must be repaid. Okay, we don't want to. If the plant is going to last 5 years, we will also use the grant for the next 5 years. So 2 million for the next 5 years is going to be 0.4 million every year. But for 2008, because it only started in July, we take half of this amount, 6 months. For 6 months, so 0.4 million for 1 year, 0.2 million for half a year. And if we are now at 31st of December 2008, the amount of grant that will be recognized in the next year should be current liability. So every year it's 0.4 million. Yani 31 dekabrgacha bo'lgan qismini biz уже chiqarib tashlaymiz, chunki u ketib bo'ldi. Qabul qilib bo'lindi. 12 million, chunki 1 yilligi 0.4 million bo'lar ekan, lekin iyuldan dekabrgacha 6 oy bo'lgani uchun 12 million oldik. 31 dekabr 2008dan keyingi yil mana shu paytgacha bo'ladigan periodda yana 1 yil oraliqda qabul qilinadigan, recognize qilinadigan bu current liability bo'ladi. Shuning uchun o'shani ham ajratib oldik. Qolgan qismi, demak 0.0.4 is going to 0.6 million and we had overall 2 million. So the difference 1.4 million is going to be non-current liability. Let's be. Общий 2 million grantdan 0.2 million уже qabul qilib bo'lindi, liability emas. 0.4 millioni keyingi 1 yil davomida qabul qilganim uchun uni current qilib qo'ydim. Qolgan 1.4 millioni demak bizga non-current liability bo'lar ekan, and this is the answer in the standard approach for these kind of questions. Demak 5 ta savolga you must have spent, so for every question you must have spent about 3.6 minutes. Multiplied by 5, it's going to be how much? 18 minutes. So that means you have to be very fast and very efficient at the same time. For my students, what I do is I give them regular tasks and I also provide them with this that I prepared myself. So for all of these 55 questions, you can see here, I wrote the notes for them. Larger note, they just read and it's just the lecture notes for them. they can try the questions themselves, and before seeing the answer, they should look at this one. And then retry, reattempt the question themselves, and after that, they can check it. Ya'ni o'zbekcha aytadigan bo'lsam, buni studentlarimiz F7 kursdagi o'quvchilarim, video darslikdagi o'quvchilarim mavzularni tugatgandan keyin ishlab ko'rishadi, xohlasa. Ishlab bo'lgandan keyin javobini tekshirishdan oldin birinchi mana bu notlarga qarashadi. Va notlarga qarab turib, javoblarini qayta o'ylab ko'rishadi. Nimadir qolib ketdimi, esdan chiqqan ekanmi, unutib yuborishganmi? Undan keyingina tekshirishadi va keyin not qilib olishadi. This is the best thing I can do. So I value the time of my students, so I do everything for them. So test understanding to kerakli savollarga I made this like yellow, and let's talk about that. So I'm not going to be solving all 55 questions now because not all of them are really difficult, but let me look through these yellow questions. Test understanding 2, then second question. Okay. Test understanding 2, second question. The patent was purchased on January 1, 2016 for 10 million. On 31st of December 2016, a specialist valued it at $12 million due to the benefit that it gives Cook over its competitors. Okay, patent for the next 4 years. That means we should amortize patent for 4 years. So 10 million divided by 4, every year 2.5 million on amortization. So if we bought it on January 1, 2016, by 31st of December 2017, already 2 years passed. So in 2 years, amortization is 2.5 million every year. For 2 years, it's going to be 5 million. And if we subtract this amortization from the cost, we get 5 million carrying amount of this patent. Don't be trapped. Look what I wrote here. Caution. Intangible assets are treated at cost unless there is an active market. So usually we don't have active market. So don't get in the trap of the examiners giving you the fair value. Most people, what they do is they find the carrying amount, 5 million, and they see, oh, we have $12 million. So we should revalue it by 7 million and take it to surplus. Incorrect, because patent is an intangible asset, and for intangible assets, mostly we have no active market, which means we should not revalue them to their fair value upwards. Yani patent, brand degan nomlar bilan past paperlarda ko'pchilik bunaqa savollar. Specialist value qilib berdi, fair value shunaqa ekan deb bersa ham qiymatini ko'tarib qo'ymang. It's just a trap for you. Siz uchun bu examinerlar qilgan tuzoq deydimi? Chunki patentni sotiladigan xuddi masalan telefonga o'xshagan, notebookga o'xshagan, sokka o'xshagan bir narsa bozori yo'q. Shu uchun ham ularni faqat kostda ushlaymiz. 1-yanvar 2016 olingan bo'lsa, 31-dekabr 2017-yilgacha uning qiymati 2 yil o'tib ketadi va 5 million carrying amount qolar ekan. Javob 5 million bo'ladi. So I have these notes. Shunaqa notlar qilib beraman o'quvchilar uchun. Xo'p, 5-sini ko'raylik, keling. Began developing a new online social gaming platform. The project began on January 1, 2018 and launched on 31st of October 2018. Hop. 1-yanvar boshlangan, 31-oktyabr ishga tushib ketdi. Okay. The directors released the final funds complete the project following successful results of testing on June 1. What it means is that expenditure until June 1 is going to be expensed. And because only on June 1, testing was successful and directors kind of were ready to fund this project. So any expenditure after June 1, so this is going to be June 1, before expense, after capitalize. So how do we know how much of the amount should be capitalized? 10 million was incurred on the project evenly from January 1 to 31st of October. So from the 1st of January to the 31st of October, we've got 10 months. And for 10 months, we spent 10 million, which means for every month, we spent 1 million per month. Savol, what's the total to be capitalized as intangible asset? Okay. Demek birinchi iyunda tasdiqlangan bo'lsa, birinchi iyundan uyog'i. So June, July, August, September, October. For 5 months, we should capitalize. 1 million per month multiplied by 5 months is going to be $5 million of the cost should be capitalized. Okay, this is not the end. But wait a bit. In addition to this expenditure, an item of plant costing 6 million with a life of 5 years was removed from production and used to develop the project. Yani $6 million mashina olingan, plant va 5 yillik umri bor. Mana shu proyektga ishlatilgan. You know what? The depreciation is usually expenditure, but if you use one asset specifically for development of one project, then even depreciation is capitalized. Yani odatda depreciation is expense qilinadi, lekin mana shunaqa biror proyekt uchun ishlatilsa, loyiha uchun, development uchun, даже o'sha assetni, plantni depreciation ham capitalize qilinadi. Let's find this. $6 million. Bu qachondan boshlangan? 1-iyundan, demak, kriteriya to'g'ri keladi. 1-iyundan 31-oktyabrgacha we have how much? 5 months. So 5 years. Demek 6 millionni 5ga bo'lsak, 1.2 million is going to be annual depreciation. But from June 1 up to October 31, we have 5 months. So we take only 5 months of it. It's going to be $500,000. $500,000. 5 million from the project itself, 500,000 from depreciation. Overall, $5.5 million that should be capitalized. And I wrote this. Development cost and the depreciation of the machinery used specifically for this development should be capitalized. This is my note. And all of my students who read this note understand that they should do the same. And here as well. Okay. So question, under the cost model, is the fair value of non-current assets? Oh, this is a very interesting question. Question number 4. Yep. At July 1, 2008, an impairment review of Chun cost properties was also carried out. Fine. The fair value of head office was assessed at $23 million. And the fair value of the factory was 14 million. Oh. What should we do is we should compare the fair value and the carrying amount of these properties. So head office, 23 million, July 2008. Okay. Head office. So we have January 2008. We should take it to July 2008. So head office, right? Head office, 23 million. Head office is actually 22 million at the start of the year, 20 years. So for every year, it's going to be $1.1 million every year. For 6 months, is going to be $550,000. This is depreciation. So we should subtract it from the carrying amount, which is going to be $21,450,000. The carrying amount of my head office, $21,450. But its fair value is 23 million. Oh. Here we are tempted to choose 23 million. But don't. This is incorrect. Manam agar yosh bo'lganimda shunaqa qilardim. Demak, carrying amount 1-iyulda 21,450 bo'lgan head office, 21,450,000 bo'lgan head office, 23 millionga baholansa, oh, I take the higher one deb o'ylaymizda, revalue qilamiz, surplusga yozamiz deb o'ylaymiz. But you miss out one point. When we look at here, the first sentence, Junko uses the cost model in relation to property, plant, and equipment. Cost model deganni ma'nosi revalue up qilinmaydi. Bozordagi bahosi 23 million bo'lsa ham, carrying amount'i 21,450,000 bo'laveradi. This is the answer for head office. What about for factory? Factoryga qaraymiz. So we have 16 million for 20 years, 800K for every year. For 6 months, it's going to be 400,000. And 16 million minus 400,000, $15.6 million. This is the carrying amount. Demak, factoryni 1-iyuldagi carrying amount'i 15.6 million bo'ldi. 15.6 million the carrying amount of our factory. But the fair value is 14 million. Under cost model, if the fair value is higher than the carrying amount, then you do nothing. You don't revalue up. You just take it as carrying amount. But if the fair value is lower than carrying amount, then this is going to be impairment, and you need to write it down to its fair value, which is lower. So it's going to be 21,450 and 14,000 or 14 million. Qarang, mana shu narsaga yozganman. Under cost model, shu narsani men qisqa qilib aytib berganman. Student qiynalmaydi-da. Bajarib ko'radi, xato qiladi, bu notni o'qiydi, keyin qaytadan urinib ko'radi, keyin tekshiradi. So double analysis, and that's the best thing they can do. And I have these notes for most of my lessons, for most of my revision classes, for the sole benefit of the student. So I even have this, like factoring is a headache. So the question number 4 is about factoring. So factor it. And factoring is indeed a headache for most FR candidates. So if you're having a headache, then you should take your Trimol, your funny gun, or your coupon with you. That's what I joke about it. So under factoring, we have 2 types of factoring, right? With recourse. With recourse, that means when the period ends, all the unsettled debt will come back to you. And we have without recourse. That means you factor it and it's not your problem anymore. O'zbekchasi, with recourse degani siz faktor qilib boshqa kompaniyaga qarzlaringizni yig'ib olishga berasiz-da, muddat tugagandan keyin ular yig'ilmay qolgan qarzlarni qaytarib o'tib beradi. And this is your problem. Without recourse degani siz boshqa bitta kompaniyaga faktoringga berdingiz, muddat tugadi, qarzni hammasini yig'ib bera olmadi, bo'ldi, ularning muammosi. Siz qutuldingiz muammodan. In this case, ikkalasining farqi nimada? In with recourse, you do not derecognize receivable. Ya'ni receivable hali ham balansda turadi. Without recourse esa receivable to'lig'icha balansdan chiqib ketadi. Bo'ldi. U bizaniki emas endi. Here it says all responsibility for receivable returns to Vernon Co. if the debts are unpaid after 6 months. 6 oydan keyin to'lanmagan qarzlar qaytib kelsa, it's going to be with recourse. And that means receivable should not be derecognized. Should be emas, should not be. 2 millionni 1.8 millionga sotdi. Oradagi farq $200,000 loss emas. Loss is calculated at the end of the period, after 6 months. Demak, bu ham noto'g'ri bo'ldi. Which 2 of the following are correct? We have A and B, and we should choose 2. Tough choice, right? Hop, keyingi savollarda bor mana. And I have these notes for everybody. So test understanding 10. And by the way, I can share these notes if I get about 888 subscribers in YouTube, the same case. So if you guys can help me by subscribing to my channel, then I can help you to pass your F7 by providing you almost all the resources that you need. Test your understanding 10 at the end. We have 10, 9, and 10. So here, Purdue, Sherwood. Sherwood looks like Sherzot. What is the consolidated revenue? Boson, right? Piece revenue plus subsidiaries revenue minus intra-group sales. Piece revenue olamiz. Sherwood revenuesini olishga shoshilmay turamiz. Look. The year is ending 31st of December, but we got it on July. The 1st of July until 31st of December, that means only 6 months. 6 months, half of this. So which means we should prorate subsidiaries accounts and their results. Bu 1 yillik yozilgan hisobotlar. Biz iyulda olganimizdan keyin, demak buni faqat 6 oyligiga biz haqlimiz. So we prorated. 411.600 plus mana buni 6 oyligi и orasidagi bir-biriga sotgani. Hop. Held 30% of these goods. Okay. 1 million per month at a margin of 20%. Hop. Mana shu joyda be careful and read carefully. 1 million per month deyapti. That means July, August, September, this October, November, December. For 6 months, it's going to be 6 million. 6 million atlashimiz kerak. Intra-group sales bo'ladi. That's the amount. 6 million because 6 months of sales. Admin expense, good one. Another interesting question here. How much should be included as consolidated administrative expenses? So usually that's going to be parents expense plus subsidiaries expense plus some more things. So that's going to be this one plus this one divided by half because we only acquired this in July. And what else? We have goodwill impairment, 300. Goodwill impairment is treated as operating, is as admin expense. So we add 300 goodwill impairment. What else? We have property and extra depreciation. 2 million excess amount, 20 years. So that means every year, 2 million divided by 20 years is going to be $100,000 every year. From July till December, it's 6 months. So it's going to be $50,000. And that's going to be plus 50. Of 50.600 half of this. And ultimate. Which is ultimate. 350. 0. 25. 67, 520. Okay, this is fine. This is nice. So my notes help everybody. So one more thing. Qiyin savollarni mana shunaqa sariq qo'yganman. Notlarimda ham, o'quvchi ko'rganda ham e'tibor berish uchun. Test semesterning 11dagi, demak, ikkinchi savol ekan. What amount should they recognize in investing activities regarding the sale of property? Okay, sale of property bizga pul kirib keladi. Qanchaga sotgan? Fine. We're going to find this now. We are given some elements from profit and loss. some elements from financial position. We have plant property equipment for last year, for this year. Disposal of property, recording a gain on disposal, 3 million gain. Okay. Purchased for this much and depreciation for this much. Okay. What can I do is I can use the T account of non-current assets. How much was it at the start of the year? Bir yüz otuz altı bin dokuz yüz ellik. Bir yüz otuz altı bin dokuz yüz ellik. At the year end, bir yüz otuz iki bin yüz. If I'm not mistaken. So 1.5 million added, purchased. Qo'shiladi. 1.5 million. Bu 3'ten olib tashlamaymiz hamda. Depreciation 2 million. Depreciation is on the credit side. We balanced it. So it's going to be 138,450 on the debit side, and it should be the same on the credit side. What's my balance? Balance carry forward is 4,350. 4,350. That is what? That is the carrying amount of disposal. Sotgan assetimizni carrying amount'i 4,350,000 ekan. Here we're told gain on disposal 3 million. Right. Carrying amount 4,350,000. Gain on disposal 3 million. Bu degani we sold it for 7,350 million. 7,350,000ga sotgan bo'lsak, demak 3 million foyda qilamiz qachonki carrying amount'i 4,350,000 bo'lsa. We're asked to find what amount should be recorded in investing activities regarding sale of property. We sold it for 7,350. Bunda adashmang. Javobda adashmang. So you get the idea from two other sources. 55 ta savolni mana shunaqa osonlik bilan ishlasa bo'ladi. When you have such notes. And I'm not saying that it's the best practice. I'm telling you that it's a good practice before you dive into past papers, you dive into analysis of difficult questions. Hamma mavzularni bittada takror qilish uchun juda yaxshi source. And at the end, I have verdict. Mavzularni tugatgandan keyin o'quvchilarimiz jami 55 ta savoldan 45 tacha ishlasalar, it's a good one. Like 10 ta yoki kamroq qayerda xato qilgan bo'lsalar, xatolar haqida notlar qilib olsalar va bo'ldi. They can go on. Agar 35 tacha to'g'ri chiqqan bo'lsa, 45 tadan kamroq, 35 tadan ko'proq. Unda demak, darslar paytida yaxshi not qilmagan bo'ladi. Chunki dars paytlaridagi lecture notlarimiz, they are the most comprehensive and the most powerful. Agar kimdir mana shu mavzularni tugatgandan keyin mana shu practice yechib ko'rib, bir martada javobi 28 tadan kam, ya'ni 50% dan kamroq chiqadigan bo'lsa, demak, that means the student is not studying enough. Agar o'quvchimiz biladigan bo'lsalar, videolarni qaytib ko'rishlari kerak va homeworklarni, demak, ataylab qilish, ko'proq e'tibor berib qilishlari kerak bo'ladi. That's a good benchmark for the students. Darslarimiz davomida mamlaqa benchmarklardan juda ham ko'p. Men F7 online o'quvchilarimni bilan ta'minlayman. So they get access to 86 videos. 86 ta video. Hazilakam gap emas. Hamma mavzuni qismlari bor. Bironasi qolib ketmagan. They get access to my revision videos, revision notes, mana shunaqa notlarga ega bo'ladilar. Undan tashqari bu ishlab berganlarim bor, ishlab bermay guide berganlarim bor. Shunchaki bir o'quvchiga turtki deydimi? Mana shunaqanisi bor. They get access to the top achiever tips, practical tips in which I solve, I analyze, I mark, I criticize. and they get access to massive mock practice with answers, with solutions. And they can also get their answers, their section C writings checked by me. Studentlar yozgan tekshirib tursa bo'ladi menga. Tekshirib baholab beraman va undan tashqari o'ziga mos o'sha studentlar bilan bir xil vaqtda topshirayotganlarni bitta guruhga jamlab, o'sha guruhda savol javoblar bo'ladi, savollarni so'raydi. Imtihon vaqtiga masalan necha kun, necha hafta, necha oy qolganiga qarab turib plan qilib berishi mumkin. Mana buni bugun o'qiysiz, keyingi hafta buni o'qiysiz deb. This is all that I can provide for students. And more is yet to come. F7 kursimizni to'liq promo videosi demak yaqinda chiqadi. Ungacha ulgurib qolsangiz bo'ladi for to get the course for discounted price, and after that it will have its full price. Mana bu video agar manfaatli bo'lgan bo'lsa, unda biz xursandmiz. Keyingi videolarda section C qolib ketdi, ya'ni section A bo'yicha misol ishlab berdik, section B bo'yicha mana bor, section C bo'yicha haqiqiy bitta marking qilingan video qilsak, menimcha bu F7 bo'yicha maksimum practice bo'lardi. Inshaalloh keyingi videolarda buni amalga oshiramiz va u uchun esa bizani qo'llab-quvvatlang. Subscribe to our channel, like it, share it with your friends, and post your questions, post your ideas in the comment section below. See you guys. With you, Abdul Karim Rustamov, an ACCA affiliate since 2021.